My wife married me because she's in love with my best friend. The three of us went to the same high school. Apparently, my wife has had a huge crush on my best friend since junior high and he's always known about this. It's been 10 years since my wife and I got married and she still loves him. For a little over 10 years my wife has been dealing with her one-sided love for him while I've been living with my one-sided love for her for 12. It turns out that she only got close to me and dated me in the first place just so she could get in touch with my best friend. She wanted to be part of his life no matter what and she chose me as a scapegoat, letting me believe for years that she loved me. She told me all of this 3 weeks ago because I had decided that we were ready for a child and brought up the discussion over dinner. She told me she could make love to me, she could marry me, and she could even pretend to be in love with me, but she drew the line at children. She told me that she couldn't live with the thought of giving birth to a child that was mine and not his, and then she left me that same day. She didn't even tell me she was sorry for everything she put me through. She just dropped the bomb that I was never the one for her and left. Not that an apology would make this any better, but she did say she did her best to live a happy life with me, but ultimately she couldn't stand it anymore. She's not picking up any of my calls, replying to any of my emails, or texts, and I haven't bothered to reach out to my best friend either. I know they're not together, but I can't help but feel betrayed by him after finding out he knew my wife didn't love me this entire time. I'd actually probably be happy if she ended up with him because maybe then I'd feel like everything worked out for her in the end. After 10 years I've lost everything and learned it was nothing but a huge lie. As I sit here writing this I feel nothing and I'm not sure if this is normal. This doesn't feel real. And I have no idea how I'm going to make it through this. Update: my wife married me because she's in love with my best friend. It turns out my best friend had no idea about my wife's situation after all. The two of us hung out last night and made some small talk as we drank a bit before I finally brought myself to talk to him about my wife. It wasn't easy to bring it up. I told him straight up my wife married me because she was in love with you. And he was shocked. He didn't know what to say, so for what felt like a long time the two of us sat side by side as he tried to process what I just confessed to him. It seems like she never ended up contacting him after she left, and to my surprise, other than our small dinner gatherings together that happen a few times a year, she never really contacted him personally. She didn't really join those dinner gatherings much either. I asked him if my wife had ever told him about her feelings for him and he mentioned that she had, but it was so long ago before we were dating that he didn't think anything of it, and he certainly had no idea she still felt that way about him after 2 decades. We talked for a long time about a lot of things. Mostly about our past, our school years, college years, life, and everything else we could think of. We went our separate ways when the night was over, and now here I am, feeling guilt. My best friend had no idea how my wife felt after all this time, and he wasn't the one I should have been angry with. I regret being so upset with him and dragging him into this mess. He told me how sorry he was even though it wasn't his fault. As for my wife, she contacted me and we're meeting up in 2 weeks. She left an email explaining that she had left for another country because she felt like she needed to go somewhere far away in order to get her thoughts together, and that she'd be returning in 2 weeks. She wants to meet up for a talk and I've agreed to it. There are so many things we need to talk about and I need closure. I haven't been able to sleep for weeks and I'm so exhausted over this entire situation. Final update: my wife married me because she's in love with my best friend. My wife passed away and I'm now a widower. I know this is a huge leap after my previous update, but my wife unalived herself. We met shortly after the email she sent me and it wasn't pretty. I thought I could keep myself together, but I ended up breaking down right in front of her. I've never felt the need to cry so much in my entire life. Seeing her again just made every single negative emotion run back to me and I felt so used. After everything we'd been through together, all the time we spent together, she betrayed me. My conversation with her was basically a repeated routine of me asking her why she had done this to me, why she had said yes when I asked her to marry me 10 years ago, and why it had taken her so long to finally reveal it to me. I was destroyed because I had wasted a literal decade of my life loving this woman only to find out it was all an act on her end. She didn't really give me any clear answers to my questions either. She was mostly quiet the entire time, letting me sob, and whenever she did give me an answer it only made me even more emotional. One thing I do remember was that she had finally apologized. After some more meaningless conversation, I told her I wanted a divorce. Not loving me was one thing, but to deceive me for a decade is another. She agreed to the divorce and I told her to sincerely F off and never show herself in front of me ever again. A week after she left, I got a phone call from my mother-in-law alerting me that my wife had ended her life. She took a few pills and never woke up the next morning. She didn't leave any note or any messages to anyone. She just left for good and that was it. The funeral took place but I couldn't go. My best friend showed up and all I can wish is that she knew he had showed up for her and that she was happy wherever she was. It's been 3 months since she passed away and a deep trauma has been placed inside me. I've been seeking therapy ever since and things haven't gotten any better, but I am functioning. It may be the bare minimum, but I'm doing my best every single day to make it through this. I don't think I'll ever find a solution that's going to help me fully recover from this incident. My life has been torn apart and I can't function the way I used to. I guess I'll never find out what her true feelings were or why she stayed with me for so long if she never loved me, but if her goal was to haunt me for the rest of my life, she's doing a pretty good job of that because I haven't been able to get her out of my head for even a second. This is the last post I'll ever make regarding this situation as there's no meaning in life for me anymore, but I'm gonna do my best to go on.